Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 22nd of December, 2023. Friday! And this is my first time going live on X. And so we'll see how that goes. It makes me a little nervous. I'm on YouTube as well, so I'm very limited to what I can say. But if you want to head on over to my Rumble channel, if you're not already there, it's Dawn, DAWN 189 or 189er for my military and veteran friends out there. And I share a lot of information. Before I get into today's topics, though, just friggin' Canadian and international news, I want to reiterate with what's going on with Trump. It's drama. It's a distraction. He's paying for all of this advertisement. You know what? Like it's Biden and Trump. They've both been involved in corruption for their entire lives, you know what I mean, and illegal activity, criminal activity, and so the fact that people are going to lose sleep over the fact that Trump may not be able to be one of the election candidates, it still blows my mind. And even Vivek Ramaswamy or whatever his name is, this 38-year-old guy, he says a lot of truthful things, but he was saying that if Colorado doesn't take back this attempt to take Trump off the electoral card, then he is going to remove himself from the Colorado riding as well. And it's just like, why are you supporting this? Like, why is that like the sword that you want to fall on when you're also going for the presidential seat? And it is what it is. But even within Canada, it's a farce. We have people that have been in cabinet or elected officials, or people that are hired by their friends within cabinet, including Justin Trudeau. And they're just pushing such a corrupt narrative, whether they know it or not, and they're lying to people, and they're claiming to be victims, even though they make $100,000 or more a year, and they claim to be victims while they're putting in place policies and fucking everyone off. Sorry for swearing. And it's just it's mind blowing. So even this morning, I got into a little bit of a debate with someone that doesn't know what she's talking about. And she's in government, and she gets paid a lot of money, and she's been there for years, and she's a racist, she's a sexist, she hates Canada, she's anti-Canadian, and anyone that speaks out against this and refutes her policies or what she's pushing, she calls us racist or just discriminating. When I've even shared conversations that she's had where she's slamming Christians in Canada. There's a lot of Christians in Canada, for anyone that's not aware of this. And so this is her name is Rupa Subramanya. So Rupa, and then Subramaya. Just a horrible human being that plays a victim. Anyway, and so I commented as well. And I'll just go into it. I don't write notes anymore for any of my videos. I'm just kind of always winging it. And I know you can't see my replies. Let me do that one again. Yeah, so I said she looks like she's calling out your anti-Canadian, racist, and discriminatory policies you keep supporting and enabling. You are intentionally lying to and dividing the country because of foreign interference. Go away. So this is me responding to this woman because she's claiming that someone else is a racist because she's calling out her policies, and then she's like, here's the tweets. It's all stuff about what she's supporting and enabling that is completely divisive and anti-Canadian, and it's false flag events, and she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And this is and so she's like, this is racist, this is sexist, it's because I'm Punjabi, or it's because I'm Indian. No, it's not. It's because you're terrible at your job and you don't know what you're talking about. And if you look at this girl's other friggin' tweets and comments, she's also saying the same friggin' things to Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, and many other friggin' people. And so they're trying to say oh, she's PPC. It's People's Party of Canada for those who are not Canadian. And they're trying to again make the PPC look like a right-wing, white supremacist friggin' political affiliation. And it's ignorant. It's so ignorant. And whatever lands, right? They just throw so many friggin' bombs out there. You know what I mean? And whatever friggin' lands is what they're just going to go with. Whatever's popular in mainstream media is what they're going to claim to be a victim of as well. It's just freaking annoying. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you take a look at my other videos, we've been lied to, ladies and gentlemen, for our whole lives and our parents' lives and our grandparents' lives. And so I'll get into the topics of the day just to start. Actually, maybe I'll get in with the chemtrail. So nano aluminum particles falling from the sky. I'll start with that one. I'm going to give you a few videos on chemtrails and geoengineering, weather modification stuff from various different platforms. And I'm also going to share a video that I've shared before, but it's been a few months and it's due again because I've been talking about it more recently. Again, and it's about petroleum being what they're trying to classify these fossil fuels as. And it's another farce that we're being fed for people that want to take our fucking money from us. Fudging money from us. Oh, I need to stop with the swearing, especially since I'm going to be seeing my family for the Christmas holidays. And I do my best not to swear in front of my mother still, even though I'm in my 40s. It's out of respect, obviously, for your elders. And also there's still kids, there's children. And so even though some of them are over the age of 18, to me, I changed their diaper. So I still want to set a good example, which is also why I had stopped drinking for many years and then stopped doing it around family.
Substance found by a Southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight.
And she's gorgeous.
KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
Because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA.
Armed with these lab results about the high levels of barium found in our sample, we decided to contact the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. They told us that, yes, these levels are very unusual, but at the same time, they added the caveat that proving the source is a whole nother matter.
Barium is a hallmark of other chemtrail testing, which even attracted attention from a Los Angeles TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified weather modification programs by the government. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?
I'd rather it be something inert and benign, something that's, not causing any damage, but I'd like to know what it is.
KSLA News 12 discovered chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists. Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12 reporting.
And, it turns out until 9 years ago, the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions. Only a public outcry repealed part of that law with some exceptions.
Now, Jeff's report mentioned high levels of barium linked to those alleged chemtrails. We wanted to find out exactly what effects barium has on the body. We spoke with Mark Ryan, the director of the Poison Control Center. Ryan tells KSLA News 12 that short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
Anything that
could be meant to wear down a person's immune system. Exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
Anything
There's
that
a reason why I shared it
causes
3
or
times.
affects the body long term chronically is going to affect your ability because it's constantly working on the body. So from that aspect, yeah, that's a potential.
Substance.
Yep. And aluminum oxide and these other particles that they're dropping in the air. This is confirmed We need to get access to information requests in. I'm actually going to ask someone again today for that, to see what chemicals are D&D, so Department of National Defense, Canadian Armed Forces, what chemicals they're purchasing, and corporations that work in and around them, and in agriculture and stuff like that as well, and see what quantity or percentage of these of boron and friggin' aluminum oxide and all these other harmful chemicals, how much of it is actually being purchased and released quarterly and annually. We have a right to have access to that information because we're paying for it. So I'll go on to my next video. So this is one that I shared 4 months ago again.
Yeah, is it mineral? Mineral like any other mineral? Is that how it? What would you say? How did it? What's the origin of?
You see, when they first found petroleum, because they were beginning to make motors and needed on axles of wheels on railroad trains and all that sort of thing. And remember, trains started in the beginning of the 19th century. Then oil went from just a lubricant to a fuel, and it made it valuable. And Rockefeller happened to be the smartest man in the business at the time, but he made most of his money, or much of it, off the transport of the petroleum as well as selling it. But one thing they realized was, because oil is putting a price on oil is like putting a price on a pail of water. You know, there's no initial cost. It's in the ground, and in those days they were, some of it almost what you'd call surface mining the oil. They didn't go down deep. So in order to get the price up, they hit on the idea that they would have to make it appear to be scarce. That boy, after we take the next few barrels out, we're probably going to have to close as well. You know, that kind of thing. But a very fortuitous event. In 1892, there was a convention in Geneva of scientists to determine what organic substances are. Well, the definition of organic is a substance with hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. And so it's usually a living substance, a tree. You analyze a dead tree, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, and grass, and so on, living things. Animals, we are hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So at this Geneva Convention, Rockefeller took advantage of sending some scientists over who said, petroleum is hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. Therefore, it must be derived from the spoiling, the rotting of formerly living matter.
Yeah, makes no sense.
And playing the game properly, when this scientific convention was over, they defined oil as the residue from formerly living matter. Well,
so even with the residue of formerly living matter, how do you get how do you get the oil? How do you get the oil extracted that has the hydrogen, oxygen, carbon in it when it's been completely removed from it? And not even just decay, but like also eaten and stuff like that as well from other insects and worms and other animals. Like this makes no friggin' sense, ladies and gentlemen.
That makes it a fossil fuel. I don't know why they decided to use the word fossil, but it says formerly living matter, it's fossil. Well, of course, today, and another thing we should know is that there has never been a fossil, a real fossil found below 16,000 feet. And you can't argue at 16,000 is a level line because someplace the ground sinks and so on. But 16 is what the scientists say, 16,000. We mine oil, or we drill for oil at 30,000, 33,000, 28,000 every day of the week. So right there, we rule it out that it isn't fossil fuel. It's called fossil fuel for the minds of the public to feel that it is an asset that is running out, being depleted. We talk about depletion allowance, which is a lot of, and actually, if you know the world's oil supply, you know that it is not going to run out for an awfully long time. It is the second most prevalent liquid on Earth. And we haven't begun to dig. Well, with all that background, you see, the people in charge of the petroleum business, for perfectly reasonable business things, like any other man in the business, wants to keep his price as high as he can get away with. And the way to do is just say, well, as no more, we the last barrel is going to cost $1,000, and then it's all done. And they preach that stuff. What bothers me is that in geology books, it's in there.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Geologists say it's a fossil fuel. They've somehow been bought. I went to a 4-year federal staff energy seminar run by the government of the United States during the so-called energy crisis. I was the participant that represented the railroad industry. The airline industry was there. Every AA administrative assistant of senators and congressmen was there. The CIA was there. The Defense Department was there. The State Department was there. Sometimes sitting right in front of me in the row would be Henry Kissinger with his friend, the head of Department of Defense. It's too bad I can't put the names with them. But anyway, people like that, top men in the government, sitting there listening to the federal staff energy seminar. Well, what this was doing is for 4 years, they were teaching a propaganda line to the leading people in this country, and therefore to the leading people in the world, when you include the Schlesingers, Kissinger and Schlesinger, among others. And the object of it was, as Kissinger used in his own terms when it was time for him to speak, to create a world price for oil. In other words, not 30 cents a gallon here and 90 cents a gallon there, but let's get a world price. That's their goal, and they're trying to do that for wheat and everything else. We don't realize what the controls are, whether it's oil or some of these other things. Almost everything today is being categorized at the highest price they can possibly make it go. And so calling petroleum a fossil fuel is the basis for this system with respect to petroleum. And I don't know if the name Arthur Kantrowitz rings any bell. Arthur Kantrowitz is the head of the Kantrowitz Labs set up by the Avco company near Boston, Scientific Laboratories. And a great man in the scientific world. And Kantrowitz and I were sitting at a table at this seminar once, and the table happened to be all young college grad PhD geologists. And so just to get a conversation started, I turned to Kantrowitz and I said, Arthur, what do you think about this foolishness of these speakers talking about fossil fuel? And it was kind of put up. He started laughing. He said, you know, that gets me. He says, I don't have a geology degree, but he had 1,000 other degrees. And he said, I don't understand. He said, you'd think that these heads, these other fellows at the table, we did it on purpose, start listening, you know. And he asked, he said, are you gentlemen? He says, you're here at the meeting. Are you gentlemen by any chance geologists? And one fellow, yes, I am. And the other, yeah. He said, well, why don't you tell me? He said, why is oil? You know, and he went on like that. We brought the house down because nobody could argue with Kantrowitz. He like Einstein. People aren't going to. And he told him right there, he said, just drop it. But it's in all the books and in all the papers. But it started from that strange meeting in 1892, a scientific convention. I have a big, thick scientific encyclopedia put out by the Van Nostrand Company that's about 15 years old now. But it has the whole story of the conference. It doesn't have the Rockefeller part, but it has the whole story of how they straightened out organic chemicals and how it was all figured, and they've got petroleum right in there. Amazing. So
I hope that blew your mind. I know the volume was poor. My apologies for that. So this is from my channel. This is something that I posted 4 months ago. There are other people that are sharing it now, which is a good thing. And I did want to show you, Arthur Kantrowitz, because I talked about him before, but he was also mentioned, and someone who was a friggin' literal genius, which is also a good thing and a bad thing, because American scientist and engineer, but also part of organizations that have also been lying to us, right? So affiliations with like the aerospace, NASA friggin' groups. Speaking of chemtrails and vehicles overhead. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so physicists too. National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA. Yeah. Interdisciplinary research in the areas of fluid mechanics and gas dynamics. So I think you would know a little bit about petroleum, what we're calling fossil fuels, which is a farce, and it's the second most abundant fluid in the world, as mentioned. And so anyone saying, like, it's just so, and like anyone pushing like this gas powered stuff, these are all people that have most likely shares and stocks in these companies. And we've got like these new EV, like EVs, what they're calling it, companies that are being opened in Ontario. Okay, so in the friggin' province that I'm living in now, not born and raised here, but I'm living here because of friggin' work. Although my contracts, because of what I share with the higher levels of government, they don't want to believe this or see this, right? They're like, no, without even looking at the actual facts, which is, I mean, not fine, but like it is what it is, right? It's just very unprofessional. And so this is from Eric Dubé, and I do like his work. And so this is on cosmetics, chemicals, and cancer.
Lead in most lipsticks and mercury in most mascaras? Did you know there's lead in most lipsticks and mercury in most mascaras? Did you know that cancer-causing phthalates, banned from use in children's toys, are one of the most common ingredients in many skin products? Did you know the FDA has no regulatory control over cosmetics companies and allows them to decide their own safety standards? They don't even have to fully label ingredients.
Hey there, ladies. It's time to play that game that you already play every day. Try to look pretty without poisoning yourself. Meet Jackie. She's a working mom who feels her ordinary looks need all the help they can get.
Hi, Bob.
Okay, Jackie, let's see if you can find a cosmetic product that doesn't contain toxins and cancer-causing chemicals.
Geez, can you give me a hint?
Sorry, cosmetic companies don't always have to tell you if they contain toxins.
What?
That's just the way the game works here. And it's how the game is played for you ladies playing along at home. Go, Jackie, you lose. You poisoned yourself. That lipstick contains lead. In fact, all these cosmetics contain cancer-causing chemicals.
You mean I didn't even have a chance?
Sorry, sister. That's just the way you play. Try to look pretty without poisoning yourself.
It is hard to believe, but it is a fact that experts say is becoming increasingly clear. Most mainstream cosmetic and personal care products contain at least one hazardous chemical compound, and many contain far more than that. There are between 5,000 and 10,000 ingredients currently being used in everything from eyeliner and lipstick to shampoos and deodorants that are synthetic, unnatural, man-made chemical compounds. Many of these are assumed to be safe, but many more have been tested and proven to be dangerous and toxic. The National Institute of Occupational Safety, for example, has identified almost 900 personal care chemicals that are toxic in one way or another. Some cause cancer. Others cause hormone disruption. Some are neurotoxins. Others cause organ damage. In Europe, 1,100 of these dangerous materials have been banned from consumer products. In America, only 10 have been banned. In a 2006 EWG study, they analyzed the umbilical cord blood of hundreds of newborn infants and found an average of 300 toxic synthetic chemicals in every baby tested. This means that these mothers' bloodstreams were so full of man-made chemicals from their food, water, air, pills, vaccines, and skin products that they're transmitting these hundreds of toxic, unnatural chemicals into the fresh blood of their newborns. In 2008, EWG performed another study on 20 US teenagers who used chemical cosmetics. All of the girls tested positive in their bloodstream for over a dozen known toxic chemicals used in their cosmetics. This means, of course, as any dermatologist will tell you, that what goes on your skin goes into your body and stays there. Chemicals in lotions, soaps, moisturizers, deodorants, shampoos, gels, sunscreens, creams, dyes, nail polish and removers, perfumes, colognes, foundations, blushes, eyeshadow, eyeliners, mascaras, and lipsticks don't just get washed away. Over 70% of what touches our skin is absorbed into our bodies. The average American woman absorbs and gains 5 pounds of personal care products every year. Former Miss America Susan Jeske has been on a mission to alert the world to the dangers of cosmetics since she had severe health issues resulting from the toxic synthetic chemicals in her skincare and beauty products. She now travels around the US and the world talking about these issues. Check out this excellent, comprehensive website, cosmeticsdatabase.com, to find exactly what chemicals are in your personal care products and exactly what health risks have been linked to each.
Here's a short list of the top 12 toxic ingredients you'll find in your home. In fact, we call these the Toxic 12. We'll talk about 5 of them in some detail.
Once again, check these ingredients against the products you use.
First, propylene glycol, butylene glycol, or ethylene glycol. Now run into your garage and check your antifreeze. Antifreeze is one of those glycols.
Now, check your facial cleansers, shampoos, conditioners, toothpaste, underarm deodorants, and baby products. These glycols act as surfactants, wetting agents, and solvents. They penetrate the skin fast.
Just while we're watching this, sorry for interrupting. For groundbreaking news, not really, but it's Tim Kennedy, MMA. He's been on Joe Rogan and other podcasts, and he just shared a meme. Chinese spacecraft is an aircraft, whatever, emitting strong signal over North America, and so frequency signals waves also can clearly damage and harm human beings and all species. So not just us. We are electrical magnetic beings. Okay, we are definitely impacted by electricity and by magnetism and by these things. And look at my other videos for more compelling evidence to substantiate that. And this is why, actually, while I'm stopped, just so I don't stop multiple times, just while I'm on a tangent. Even with candles, or like try to get natural, like bees, like candles that are natural and not the ones that have like all these heavy fragrances in them. And the same thing with perfumes and even shampoos and conditioners. I try to wash my hair. I don't care if you think this is disgusting or not, but I like it like once a week at the most. And if I can get away with like it lasting like even longer without washing it, I do that because even with the shampoos and the conditioners that I'm using, even though it's like there's no like phthalates and phosphates and all these things, like I still just don't like using unnatural products on my skin and my body, and the skin is like the largest organ that we have, and so it absorbs things within the environment. And I even showed a video where with chlorine, there's a guy that put oh sorry, my stomach. He put water in 2 cups, and he tested for chlorine, and in the first cup from the tap water, and it tested positive for chlorine. As he was like waiting for that to friggin' like the litmus test or whatever you want to call it to change colors, he put his other hand in the other glass. Okay, and within 10 seconds, his skin absorbed all of that chlorine. And then when he put the chlorine test, like the litmus test thing to test for chlorine in the water in the other glass that he had his hand in, once he took it out, put it in, there was no chlorine in it. Okay, so like imagine like I went to friggin' public pools like so much growing up, and there was so much chlorine. Oh my God. And so like there's so much shit that like I've absorbed too growing up, and just incredible to think about. So even when I take baths, I like to have like baths that have like salts in them, because we're also like salt beings, you know, that should be ingesting more alkaline foods and fluids, but not overly, right? Like it's 7.2, 7.3 is the ideal pH or alkaline level and acidity level that you should be at. But even putting things like borax or zeolite into your bath, right? Just to, again, like that helps like detox and remove some heavy metals. And then you could do like a distilled water or an alkaline water drink cleanse, where you put like some baking soda and some sea salt in the water and let it stay for like a couple of hours, and then take like some sips out of it throughout the day. And that also helps detoxify. And I would talk about urine therapy, but I think it's still too not like that. It's too controversial, because there's people that also have been doing urine therapy, consuming their own urine or urine from other animals or other people for thousands of years, and they also put it on their skin. And also, actually, an interesting note on that is there's urine from animals within the skincare products that women use as well, and it's because of the urea, like the components of the urine, and that's why a lot of animals they'll lick pee-pees after other animals pee and stuff like that, or they'll try to drink out of the toilet and stuff like that. It's for the urine, because even animals, even our dogs, know that some urine is possibly healing. I'm going on all over the place on my first X live.
Weaken protein and cellular structure.
They're strong enough to remove barnacles from boats. The EPA warns us not to pour them into our soil, yet we smear them on our bodies. Contact with these glycols may cause brain, liver, and kidney malfunction.
Yet, about 1/3 of all the beauty and personal care products you use morning, afternoon, and evening contain them and do not have a warning label.
Why are these glycols used in such abundance? One answer: they come cheap. The non-toxic ingredients needed to replace them are far more expensive.
Now propylene glycol is being added to many of our cookies and ice cream. It keeps them softer. You put petroleum in a cookie, and 100 years from now, it'll be soft and tender. Second, sodium hydroxide. This time, check under your sink. Check out your Drano or other sink and oven cleaners. Especially check the Crystal or Dry Drano. Crystal Drano is 100% sodium hydroxide.
This is a poison. Read the warning label. Look at the skull and crossbones. Yeah, it's caustic soda lye. You'll find sodium hydroxide in most common toothpastes, especially the ones claiming total or extra whitening. I guess they figure if it cleans your drains, it'll do a good job on your teeth. It's also in many of your soaps and facial cleansers.
Third, sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, or ammonium lauryl sulfate. These sulfates are strong detergents. They're used in garage floor cleaners and engine degreasers.
Yet they'll be in 90%, get that, 90% of your beauty and personal care products that foam. Why? It's the cheapest way to create foam. They're linked to eye damage, depression, diarrhea, skin irritation, and even death.
Our bodies
So
retain these sulfates for extensive periods of time.
Even men now with their with the shaving cream, that is so bad for you. Like the shaving creams that they use daily, so bad. And it's right on the friggin' face, right? So like right in like the area where like you're further ingesting it or it's going into your brain. Like it's just crazy. And yeah. Anyway.
This means that even smaller dosages amount up to higher and higher levels of toxicity in our bodies. Think of what that means to smaller bodies like infants and children. Think of the unborn infants. Any wonder why attention deficit and learning disabilities are at epidemic proportions?
Fourth, DEA, MEA, or TEA. These are hormone-disrupting chemicals with ties to cancer. They're restricted in Europe, yet used freely in the US. The EPA says that repeated applications result in major increases in liver, breast, and kidney cancer.
The risk is significantly increased in children. Fifth, PEG, or polyethylene glycol. This is a carcinogenic petroleum compound that reduces the skin's natural moisture. Prolonged use seriously ages the skin. In addition, it has links to all forms of cancer.
The higher the PEG content, like PEG 20, 50, 100, or 120, the worse it becomes. Sixth, DMDM, or urea. These are preservatives that release formaldehyde.
Seventh, mineral oil. It's another petroleum product that coats the skin like saran wrap. Baby oil is 100% mineral oil. Eighth, triclosan. It's a synthetic antibacterial with a chemical structure similar to Agent Orange. The EPA registers it as a pesticide.
Ninth, parabens, or anything that has paraben as part of its name. They are hormone-disrupting chemicals.
10th, isopropyl alcohol. It ages and dries the skin, promoting wrinkles and brown spots.
11th, FD and C color pigments. These are synthetic colors from coal tar. They score the highest mark on the toxic scale.
12th, fragrances. They may contain up to 4,000 ingredients. Animal urine is most often used to create the desired smell.
Well, those are the toxic 12. There's another 100 or so that should receive dishonorable mention. Additional toxicity information can be found at
so they did mention the animal urine. So yeah, right there.
safecosmetics.org. Check it out.
By the way, guess which occupational group has the youngest death rate? You probably guessed it. Cosmetologists. That's obviously due to increased exposure to these chemicals.
Just an FYI, lawyers have the next youngest death rate. You can figure that one out for yourself. You might be asking why this is allowed to take place. Easy answer. In 1938, the cosmetic industry was granted self-regulation. Nothing has changed. Since that time, we have 25,000 chemicals marketed without government intervention, regardless of what the tests show.
This is probably a good place to warn you about companies who claim their products are safe. They'll tell you not to panic, that they use food grade or cosmetic grade glycols, sulfates, solvents, or parabens. They'll tell you how mild they are and that the critics are going overboard. It's the same thing some said years ago about smoking. Smoking can't hurt you. Smoking's not a threat to health. Well, that certainly wasn't true. A few years from now, additional information will show that these same toxic products cause a threat, just like cigarettes and smoking. Women use nearly 200 toxic ingredients daily in their routine, and men use nearly 100. These toxins, even in mild forms, mount up, stay in our bodies, store in our cells, and break down our immune system.
Can I tell you, I love my Pantene Pro V. Of the dozen or so personal care products that I use every day, it's the one I can't live without. Says it gives my dull hair the ultimate cool shine. How does it do that? I was wondering that while I was lathering it in my hair one day, so I read the ingredients right here. Sodium lauryl sulfate, tetrasodium EDTA, methyl isothiazolinone. What is this stuff? I took this list to some scientists who know how to read it. Turns out my Pantene contains a chemical linked to cancer. And lots of other products in my bathroom, from sunscreen to lipstick and even baby shampoo, also contain chemicals linked to cancer or other problems like learning disabilities, asthma, and even damaged sperm. Like most parents, I try to keep my family safe. But now I find out my bathroom is a minefield of toxins? What are we supposed to do? I had my body's toxicity levels tested, and I'm loaded with things like mercury, flame retardants, triclosan, and lead. We all are. Even babies are being born pre-polluted. Now, I know we can't live in a lead-free world, but do we have to put lead in our lipstick? I don't know. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I just bought the wrong thing. At the store, the choices seem endless. I can get lipstick in 49 shades, or shampoo for hair that's too dry, oily, fine, limp, or frizzy. But what about the choices that really matter, like the choice to buy products that are safe? It turns out the important decisions don't happen when I choose to take a product off the shelf. They happen when companies and governments decide what products should go on the shelves. So who are these companies? This is Procter & Gamble. They're the ones offering me Herbal Essences, the #2 shampoo in the country. It contains toxic petrochemicals made from oil. Since when is oil an herb? On cosmetics labels, words like herbal, natural, even organic have no legal definition. That means that anybody can put anything in a bottle and call it natural, and they do. I mean, can you imagine a top seller called Petro Essences? Gross. What's even nastier are hair relaxers marketed to 5-year-olds and skin whitening creams. These are super toxic, both in their ingredients and in the message they send about what beauty is. Oh, here's Estee Lauder offering me a chance to help find a cure for breast cancer. That's nice. But wait, they're also using chemicals linked to cancer. Don't you think the best way for Estee Lauder to fight cancer is to stop using those chemicals in the first place? Today, big cosmetics companies say the doses of poison in their products are small enough to be harmless. Yeah, maybe if you use them once a year. I guess they never get out and see that their products are being used and combined with other products every day. A little toxic dose under your arms, a little more on your hair, on your lips. And workers in nail and hair salons get dosed all day long. So the industry is used to doing things this way, and they can. Because even now that scientists have linked the chemicals they're using to all sorts of problems, there are no laws to get rid of them. You're thinking, really? Come on, nobody's making sure that the stuff we smear all over our bodies is safe? Nope. The FDA doesn't even assess the safety of personal care products or their ingredients. Since 1938, they've banned just 8 out of over 12,000 ingredients used in cosmetics. They don't even require that all of the ingredients be listed on the label. Now, this is an example where we can all agree a little more government action would be helpful. This lack of regulation leaves a huge hole that the cosmetics industry is all too happy to fill. They set up their own committee to self-police their products, and compliance with their recommendations is voluntary. So the cosmetics industry is making the rules and then deciding whether or not to follow them. So you see, it isn't our fault that these toxic products are in our bathrooms. It's a whole broken system that's ignoring the simple rule: toxics in, toxics out. but we're not helpless. There are resources online that we can use to protect ourselves by identifying the best possible choices in the store.
I hope that was interesting. And I don't like being the bearer of, I call it bad news, but just like news that goes against what the mainstream narrative is saying. I don't because, but it's my obligation, because once you know better, you do better. And I'm sharing a lot of like proof and evidence, unfortunately, that goes against what people are saying to intentionally harm people, possibly. And there's a lot I can't say, but because again, I'm on X right now and I'm on YouTube, and so, but there's even some organizations that make themselves appear to be official, legit, scientific or medical, or engineering institutions and or organizations or agencies, and they are not. All right. And so there are people that are used as actors and spokespeople. They don't think for themselves. They don't care what they say or what they share or what they spew. They're getting paid for it. And these companies are, again, they're not real. They're not official. And so even when they're saying like 1,000, all scientists or all experts, you know what I mean? Which ones? Give names, give locations, prove it, because anyone that I've talked to in the scientific community or the medical community or the government communities, for people that are actually that are aware of the reality of the world and what's been going on, they're on the same page as me, and they also know that these organizations and agencies that are being propped up, possibly organizations, if you want examples like CDC, World Health Organization, WEF, and others that I've been naming for years. And even societies, big societies, that allege that they have care and concern for, groups of people that are suffering from things like cancer, for example. And they, like, maybe there's more to it in that, and with the treatments and the and stuff that are prescribed. And then also look at, God, it's so hard to I feel so censored. And this is frustrating because I'm also in Canada, right? I'm in the friggin' swamp of Canada. I'm at what the Washington DC equivalent to Canada, which is just on the outskirts of Ottawa. And I've already had like multiple strikes on my YouTube channel, and I don't want that again, at least for a couple months, because my 2 strikes are still not lifted yet. And I don't know how X responds to these videos, but anyways, I'm going to share a video from Owen Benjamin before I go on too many tangents. And he is also going to discuss some things. I'm not going to show the entire video because it's over 3 hours long, but let's see where he rolls with this. I haven't watched this. I just some of his stuff is really good.
3 minutes late. I have a lot to cover today. Wow, I have a lot to cover today. I'm going to talk about what I think one of the main narratives about the submarine was. I agree with Papa J. Papa J Bear had a thought, and it looks more and more likely. What chemtrails may be doing in a positive sense. I know that's taboo in the truth community to ever look at something big picture, and everybody's not just trying to hold us down and make a squirt. Me and Benny Will shot some really, really funny sketches. They're not done yet, but I do have some sneak peeks. I want to talk about synthetic testosterone. I don't just have one opinion on it, because RFK posted a like old guy porn that is pretty much breaking the internet. Everybody on my feed just keeps posting this shirtless picture of RFK, and I know that I am sometimes guilty of what I accuse other people of, where I interact with that which bothers me. And that probably feeds the algorithm of Twitter to keep sending me more pictures of an old shirtless man on steroids. So I will work on that. Okay. I'm not, I get it. I'll work on that.
I'll just, I'll make a comment on that too, because I am a coach, a wellness. I consider myself to be more of a wellness coach. because of the extremes and stuff like that. But I'm actually certified. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified physique coach, master health and wellness. I've got the sports nutrition certification. I've got the fitness nutrition certification. I have over 2 decades of actually training people, even putting together training plans and fitness plans for even people, the elite of the elite, not only in the special forces, but also in the infantry. Like as a PPCLI infantry officer, I was the one that was putting together the training plans and going through it and leading and running the programs with full out, like platoon level, company level, battle group level, battalion level, you name it, right? And so and testosterone has substantially declined because of what's in the water and in the food and the things that are blocking the hormone, like the hormone disruptors and stuff like that people are getting and experiencing and consuming, and the lack of fitness, in schools and sports and things like that, which also assists with testosterone increasing and stuff like that. And it's impacting men significantly, right? And so this is not a new whatever you want to call it, like a new experience. This happens all over the world when you factor in like the lowering of the testosterone, and it usually happens in overdeveloped countries first. And so the testosterone is like it's hundreds of percent down in comparison to men from like even decades ago. So even like grandfathers now, they likely have more testosterone depending on their lifestyle since, but like than 20-year-old and 30-year-old men now, which is alarming. That should not be the case at all. And so if we need to supplement and augment to with more testosterone, talking about men, then this assists with like your quality of life is improved, right? Because you're naturally supposed to have more testosterone than what you have right now, and it already naturally declines with age as well. So there's so many factors against men, and so if they actually increase their testosterone with supplementation, TRT, or whatever you want to call it, then it's actually better for them. It's not anything that causes aggression and violence and all this stuff that's bullshit. Okay, maybe things in excess, like I don't know, but I've been in and around I've been around bodybuilders for many years, and I dated a bodybuilder, and he never had these aggressive, violent tendencies that people that people claim. And so, but I've seen it in in men that didn't take steroids quite often. So maybe again, like this testosterone thing, there's something to it. Because men that are capable of great violence are also the ones that are generally the most peaceful. And where was I going with that? Yeah, so supplement with testosterone. So don't be negative about steroids, right? Like men should be stronger, fitter, more muscle mass. And again, it helps with so much stuff. It helps with depression. It helps with your quality of sleep, your quality of life, with any deficiencies or dysfunctions that you may have down there. And yeah.
You're very bright, BB. Oh yeah, check this out. So Adam from Film Grain made these t-shirts. I'm not sure if he's selling them yet, but it's such a funny idea. He's got his phone number on the back. These are like Home Depot Mexican shirts, but for his film business. So yeah, these are like these filmgrainstudios.com. So he made these because Mexicans wear these shirts where they're yellow or orange.
Okay, get to the chemtrails.
And they just hang out at home. So again, just for the record, I do bear some responsibility for my occasional 10 tweets about the same guy. Because just like my tweets that are fed to people who are so cool. And so they're still here. We invited them to dinner, and they're just so nice. And they're like, the guy's like, because I invited him for dinner, and he's like, "Oh, we only been here like a week, y'all." He's like, we got all kinds of dinners to go to. He's like, we got so close with all the neighbors. They're all such kind people around here. And it's a Japanese guy with that accent. And I'm like, this is just the fucking coolest couple I've ever seen. The type of guy that you could stand in a field and talk to for 6 straight hours about like random shit. And they planted every tree on our property. And the woman, one of it is a willow, and the willow buzzes. You can hear it from the street. It's filled with honeybees. And she was like, as we're driving in, we can hear the buzz. And there's this huge willow tree that they planted that attracts honeybees. and it's so filled with bees that it literally buzzes and you can almost hear it from the street. I'm not exaggerating. And just to see the light in their eyes, they're just such good people. So I want to tell you that little story. I like to share the good stuff. That has to be amazing for them to see the fruit of their land. Yeah, and that they're always welcome here. I was like, yeah, stay for dinner, blah, blah, blah. And that's something really cool about this community, because they got so tight with our other neighbors that we made friends with, that our other neighbor was like, do you mind if the people that you bought the place off would come over? And we're like, of course not. And just to see them, like, they're giving these detailed explanations of what they thought when they planted each tree and how they were fighting the moose and fighting the voles and watering all the trees and their dreams for where they wanted to put the house. And it's just absolutely beautiful. And he's I believe he's a vet. So he's on like a fixed income. So he was like, we didn't have the money to build the house. He's like, but that's exactly with this deep Southern accent. He's like, that's exactly what we were picturing. Because our house is fairly modest, but like, I'm not going to use the word perfect, but it's just like designed and structured on the land exactly where it should be. World War II vet, which side, says Bowler Bear? How dare you, Bowler Bear? How dare you, straight to hell? Everyone's getting it. No, he's ridiculously Southern. Like, he's just this Japanese guy in his 80s. He's just like, I'm a city boy. Well, y'all, we're planting the oak tree, because way back where I'm from, the oak tree. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm on mushrooms. I'm just like, this is fucking awesome. Speaking of bees, is a legitimate magic pro trip. Raw honey is a magical healer of burns. It stops pains immediately and heals it. Oh, yeah. Raw honey is also incredible when you have a toothache. I had a toothache for a few days that got so unbearably painful. I got it fixed at the dentist, but it was horrible. And I would just put a ton of honey on it, and it would make all the pain go away. It was amazing. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny how nature works, where you rattle a beehive, you get stung by all these bees, but then the answer is in the hive, which is the honey. Japanese Cajun, yeah. Dude, he's such like a good old boy. He's like, I miss all the people around here. It's like, I'm a city boy. I learned happy wife, happy life. Hey, bears. Hey, bears, and honey closes open wounds. Thanks, Black Lady Bear. I was just right now, the people we bought the house off are here just looking what we've done to the place, and they're really, really happy with what we've done, and they're just going through the memories that they had. And it's a Japanese Cajun and a Norwegian woman, and they're just incredibly sweet. Sleep Deprived Bear says, I remember being at a wedding and seeing a guy who looked like O.J. Simpson speak fluent Vietnamese. Southern Jap boy sounds cool. Yeah, he's great. All right, let me move on. I got a lot of stuff. So did you guys see that I got that hat? I was given a hat by the Warrior, the Afghani hat, and it changed my life immediately. Here's some quick footage.
Ever since being gifted this Afghani hat from the Warrior, I knew I must be with my goats. I knew I must hold my big bear staff, carved for me from another listener. I just wanted to lead the goats, look in their crazy eyes, look around. I knew I had to walk somewhere, leading them. I didn't know where, but I knew I had to go somewhere. Sometimes
I have a balanced view, and I'm not just being a dick. Here it is. This is my testosterone opinion.
Hey, everybody. I just want to give my thoughts on testosterone hormone replacement.
Is he going to talk about chemtrails?
Big Pharma.
They're literally on aggressive rounds of hormones. So it's going to save children. That guy's going to help us now. And that's evil. Like that's an evil state. Then there's amoral, where people are basically clocking in and just inputs, where they're like, okay, it seems like people want this, let's provide it. You know, and I experienced that on Twitter. Like I said this thing, it's very cycle. We have the 19-year lunar cycle. What if the sun is on a cycle? And this is what fascinated me about. So God provides for all the sparrows of the earth. Okay, if you look at the 80s and 90s, it just seems more.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually leave it. I don't think he's gonna talk about chemtrails at all. I'm convinced because like even at that, it was over 2 hours in, and so I wasn't getting it. So I will leave it at that. I think I've shared enough anyways for people to consider. And actually maybe to just like redeem myself a little bit, because like that's a boring way to finish. I'll share this with you. Just very interesting. I don't believe this. Obviously, I've told you that I believe that this is all just gimmicks that people do to elicit emotional responses in people and to exploit people's religious beliefs, just like they're exploiting people's scientific and pseudoscientific beliefs. Oh.
Last year, and not too long ago, I told you that we were going to see Obama show up again. And people laughed about it. It's ridiculous. That's not real. So forth, so on, blah, blah, blah. Well, Barack Obama is much more than you think he is. He wasn't just the first gay president. He wasn't the first president to, actually, he was the first president to sneak a transgender person into the White House, which is what Michael allegedly. Obama is, if you didn't know.
Allegedly. I have to say that.
Michael LaVon Robinson, 324 Euclid Ave, Chicago, Illinois, is Michelle Obama. And it shouldn't be all that hard to swallow. No disgusting pun intended. Oh, that's gross. But did you notice that after Obama became president, our entire nation turned into a gay country? Everybody's gay, everybody's furries, they're transgender.
Okay, he's obviously exaggerating.
He, she, me, they, we, them, this, that, the other thing. Why is it the tiniest actual percentage completely dominates music, television, social media, and you can't say one single solitary thing? The government protects these people, but they don't protect their own homeless people. They don't protect their own veterans in the numerous wars. We've been at war my entire life, and the government doesn't protect any other interest group besides them. And you want to know why? It's because of this happy little fella right here, the Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly what it's all about. This is exactly what it's all for. These people are doing this right now. And I'm going to put this video out right now.
This is all stuff like I don't necessarily subscribe to either. I don't know if these the people that go to Bohemian Grove, which is a thing that happens annually, with the dull care effigy friggin' plays that they conduct, and it's a male only club. And anyway, I don't even know if I can even talk about that. But I don't believe that there's like reptilians or friggin' aliens or Satanists that are or any of these other friggin' whatever you want to call it that are calling the scripts and creating the scripts. I do think that there's people that for some reason somehow believe that they're doing good for humanity, and some people knowingly know that they're not, right? So again, this good and evil, this is at the individual level. This has nothing to do with demons or angels or spirits or aliens. None of this stuff. It has to do with ourselves and our spirit and how we connect on this earth plane with others and with ourselves. And we're responsible for our actions and stuff like that. And we can't, believe or be duped into thinking that it's outside of ourselves or outside of our control what we do. And I'm going on these tangents already, but I'll just keep going with this. And yeah.
Now, because before the pandemic broke out, Bill Gates and the Obamas put out a movie on pandemic that taught people how to. No one knew about locking in, masking up, all this stuff. No one knew about any of these things. That show on Netflix showed you how to act. That's the point of movie and television, to show you how to respond to certain things that may or may not that are going to be happening. And right now, Barack and Michelle just put out that movie, Leave the World Behind, which basically shows absolutely everything that 5G and all these Starlinks that Elon Musk just can't stop launching into the sky. He just launched more the other day. You see what I'm saying? It never stops. Liftoff is scheduled for 11:01 p.m., December 18th. Sweet. More of them are going up into the sky. These things, the 5G towers that are absolutely saturated, absolutely every place, that have nothing to do with your cell phone service or streaming or any of that nonsense. This is to make everything that we saw in that movie, Leave the World Behind, happen. Do you see what I'm saying? And Obama coming back. Obama is not just some guy. He's just not just some gay guy. He's not some gay guy who managed to trick the entire world into thinking he had 2 daughters when he doesn't, and managed to trick everybody into thinking that his wife, Michelle, wasn't a dude.
Yes, we can. 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 As you say. As you say. As you say.
Like, that's reaching. That's reaching to me, you know, like even with that stuff. Like even the Bohemian Grove people I wanted to just reiterate, and the Bilderberg and like the Davos crew and stuff like that. Not everyone that friggin' goes there is bad, you know, or there to, you know, find ways to destroy humanity. There are people that actually are, again, but it's a small percentage. It's a small percentage of those people. So like, you can't take the baby out with the friggin' bathwater, you know. It's anyway.
As you say. As you say. As you say. As you say.
His wife, Michelle, is a dude. Straight up. Period. That's all there is to it.
Who cares?
But hold on.
But don't lie.
Before I forget,
Don't lie.
get your money out of the bank. Turn it into gold and silver. You know what I mean?
Relax with this stuff too.
And before anybody complains the fact that I talk about turning your worthless numbers in a system that you believe are your 401k, your retirement, your savings, anything into gold and silver, keep this in mind. I have a YouTube channel right here and I think of it as a small channel, but it's 125,000 subscribers, and I don't run any ads whatsoever at all. At all. The only thing I ever talk about on Richie from Boston is because it matters. Check this out. You see all these? Every single day I get a new offer. Collaboration, and I don't do it. I do. It keeps me sane. I drive around, and the only thing that I own, my truck, I videotape things, and I put it up there. That's it. They don't get very many views whatsoever at all. The only time I get any views on Jailbreak is when I go slightly conspiratorial. Do you see what I mean? Check this out. Ain't bad, right? I started posting a couple. But these are all people from Israel. These are all people that work for the Israeli Defense Force. These are all people that know what's going on over there. This video, girl, and shown all over national television. But Obama, I got a funny feeling Obama is the product of a clone.
Okay. Okay. I will leave it now. I hope that like these little clips interested you guys, and I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of their day, their Friday. To me, this is the winter solstice day when we have the like the shortest amount of day and the longest nights. And then the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, again, it's the same, like the sun doesn't move on its ecliptical path. And then on the 25th, it is reborn, and it goes from the lowest point it is on the sine wave path, and it finally starts its ascent. It's reborn after being dead for 3.5 days. Remind you of anything? But the cave story and all that other stuff, and Jesus and Apollo and Mithras and Dionysus and Horus and many other representations of that. Christmas is coming. That's why I'm saying this. So if you log off or don't listen to any of my videos in the next few days, then I hope that you have a wonderful and happy and merry Christmas.